All right, now that we actually have everything set up, what do you need to do day to day? What are your responsibilities? Now, obviously, this is your business. You're responsible for every single detail of everything, but this is just sort of a general summary that I'm creating to try to be helpful. So the first and most obvious is orders. You got to make sure that whatever the buyer is buying from you, you are actually getting to the buyer on time, at the time that you said you were going to. This is super easy because RBShip is going to automatically be filling any orders that come in, but it will error occasionally, so you want to either check yourself manually and make sure that you're dealing with any of the errors yourself, or you can hire a virtual assistant and then they can help you cancel orders that have issues or, find alternate places to purchase them and stuff like that. The second thing is tracking. You're going to want to make sure that you're adding tracking to all of your orders. It's not required, but you're going to have problems with cases and things like that if you're not adding tracking to your items that you're shipping. The next thing is customer service and reading your messages and stuff like that. You've got to read your messages on eBay because if a buyer has a problem, they're going to say, send you a message and let you know. Never ship to a different address if a buyer's like, oh, hey, can you actually ship to this different address? But, even if they send you a message using RBShip, it's pretty hard to cancel anyway because usually stuff's already been shipped. So no, if a buyer orders, ship to the address that is on their account, or if they're like really wanting to change it, you could offer to cancel the order and then they can just reorder to the proper address. But don't just change it because that's a common scam that people will try to do, and then they'll bring it up to PayPal and eBay and say, hey, look, they shipped to this random address, even though they told you to in the eBay message. They can sometimes win the case that way and get the item for free. So never ship an item to a different address that's other than the one that the buyer told you to. But, any kind of customer service problems, generally the format should be, oh, I have this problem. And you don't get into it with the buyer. You just say, oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. What a shame. Empathize with them a little bit. And then basically say, go ahead and open up a return request so that I can send you a free prepaid return label. You send them the label, you get the free label from Amazon, pass it straight through to them, and then, they can handle all that stuff. But yeah, a lot of people have issues with customer service, and you don't really have to do anything crazy detailed. Don't get into it with buyers. Just, hey, so sorry to hear about that. Pass it straight through. Open up a return request so that we can send you a prepaid return label. They'll use the label, send it back, and get their full refund. So it's not our fault that Amazon messed up the order. So you're kind of just the middleman here. But you don't have to be defensive or anything like that. Just, oh, so sorry. Okay, and then the other thing is returns. That kind of led into it. When buyers open return requests or when they talk to you and you tell them to open return requests, you got to, check and make sure that you don't have any and handle them when you do have them because you only have a little bit of time, and if you do not deal with the return requests in the time that is allotted, you'll get a bad mark against your account. 2 of those bad marks will put you below standard, which means you're not going to get any sales going forward. So have to stay on top of your returns. Pretty easy because, you just send them a label, and as soon as you've sent them a label, it'll close. You can also refund them to close the return requests and things like that. But yeah, handle and stay on top of all your return requests and cases as well. Cases they're not return requests, but, you got to stay on top of your cases as well. And credit cards is the final thing. When you are placing a lot of orders, it's pretty easy to max out your credit card, and then if you you make a payment but that doesn't go through immediately, it takes several days and they don't go through on weekends usually, so you got to wait a little bit for the stuff to go through and free up that credit limit. So make sure you keep your credit card paid down because if you don't, that can hold you up for a couple days. So let's just go over this one more time quickly. Orders, check in RBShip, make sure that they're getting filled, make sure your tracking numbers are getting added, make sure your customer service is getting responded to, check on your returns and handle them, and make sure your credit card's paid down. Almost all of this can be outsourced, but it's up to you to decide how you want to do it. For this, I use RBShip to fill most of them, and then a VA to check and fix any problems that happen. Tracking numbers, I just have TrackerBot doing all of that. Customer service, I have one VA, and their whole job is just to go through, read all the messages, and respond to all of them and handle them. And if they're not sure how to respond, usually they're just a couple different scenarios, and we're able to respond to them pretty easily. But if there's anything weird and they're not sure what to do, then they can contact me. So I'll get a message, once a week, twice a week, something like that, saying, hey, I'm not sure how to respond to this, and then I let them know. And then whenever there's a problem in the future that, they have a similar kind of thing like that, they can easily do that. So that's how you can outsource that a little bit. Returns and cases are probably the last thing that I would outsource because they're so critical, because if you screw up, it's your fault. And if you try to outsource this to a VA and the VA screws up and you didn't notice, that's still your fault because, you should have known that VA wasn't going to be trustworthy enough. You might want to even have a couple VAs that are supposed to check each day, and that way you've sort of got redundancy to make sure that you're not screwing anything up. But, that's on you. For the longest time, I was checking my returns and cases manually every day just to make sure, because, you won't have ones most of the time, but then when you do get them, it's really important to deal with them right away. And then, obviously, credit card, I just pay that myself. It's not really a big deal, but that is something that I suppose you could outsource as well. But yeah, those are your general responsibilities: orders, tracking numbers, customer service messages, returns and cases, and keeping your credit card paid down. If you do all those things properly, your account should be fine, and that's, pretty much everything important that you need to do.
Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. If you're new to dropshipping and you're trying to figure out how to get started, I've got a full free set of training videos down there, link in the description. It goes over everything you need to know about how to get started making money online. And the average person following my method makes around $500 to $800 profit per month after expenses for each 1,000-item eBay store that they have set up and running. They're really not that hard to get started. If you've got any questions about anything dropshipping related, feel free to hit me up on Facebook. I'll put a link down there, as well as a link to a group that I started with hundreds of other dropshippers that you can join. I post new content on this channel every couple days, so go ahead and subscribe and click the notifications, and I'll see you back here with another video in a couple days.